What's up guys, this is Casey bringing you another Blender tutorial. This tutorial is going to be a little different from some of my others. I'm not teaching you how to create a specific object. Today I'm teaching you about colors and color selection. Now some of you may not have known this about me, but I am almost entirely colorblind. I don't see differences in colors. I can see the basic rainbow colors, but as soon as they start to get a little dark or a little light in the spectrum, I can't tell the difference. So it can make working on projects a little difficult. And even though there are plenty of tutorials out there on how to find colors or how to pick colors, the problem is that they usually use the color wheel. Let me show you the color wheel. You just add a new material and go to my compositor and add a mix RGB. So this here is your color wheel. I can see these basic outside colors, but this stuff in here looks the same. This kind of looks the same. This looks the same. It's really hard for me. Whoops. It's really hard for me to pick decent colors. So if somebody said, "Oh, if you're using red in a project, then you would pick something like that, and the complementary color would be," I think that's complementary, would be blue. So you just go to the opposite end of the wheel. Except the problem is that it takes a little bit more than that to find decent colors. Oddly enough, I work at a paint store in real life. So my whole life is a mess. Anyways, so yeah, I wanted to just try and give a couple of tips on choosing colors, or a couple of ideas on how to choose colors better, or to let people choose colors for you. So the first thing that we need to do is that you have to understand that Google or any search engine is going to be your best friend. Basically, there are things called color palettes out there. That's P-A-L-L, or is it P-A-L? I don't know, we'll look it up later. It's color palettes, and they basically have picked out the colors for you. So let's say I'm working on a project and I want to make an orange theme to it. I will come down here. I don't know why I shrank that window, that was stupid. So I'm already here. I'm at my search engine of choice, Bing. Ha ha ha, laugh at me. Ha 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 ha. Anyways, I searched for color palette. Okay, it's one L. P-A-L-E-T-T-E. Color palette. So let's say I want orange. Let's click on orange color palette and go to images. And this gives you a huge selection of different color palettes using the color orange. And I'm basically just going to go through here and find one that seems like it's going to work for my project. If I'm making, let's say maybe I'm making a pumpkin, I might want to use something like this, where it's got a red and an orange, and then it's got a couple of other colors in here that I can use. If I'm making a bigger scene, like a house, and I want it to be orange color, I might use something like this that's got the opposite color of blue, and then it's also got these gray and tan colors, because it'll work in a lot of neutral areas that I'm not necessarily wanting a lot of color. There are also other ways that you can do this. There's something like this, where it gives you a picture of some flowers and then gives you the color palette below them so that you can see how they work together. There are pictures like this, where it gives you a whole big mess of different objects that are basically just orange colored, and then you can use your eyedropper and select these. Then we have, let's see, what else do we have? I mean, there's things like this, where it gives you a large sort of paint chip or color swatch, whatever you want to call it, and it just gives you a large spectrum of colors that you can use for your project. for the most part, your project should only use about 2 or 3 colors, different colors, I will say. So if you're using orange, you probably wouldn't use purple. If you're using, let's say you're using, let's see, well, this one has green. I don't know why this one has green. That one's a little weird. See, I wouldn't necessarily use green. You gotta be careful. Some of these color palettes were not created by people who know what in the world they're doing. So these ones with the pictures, they really help. So if you look at the ones where they have like a picture beside you, if you look at the picture and you're like, that looks good, I like that, that looks artistic, and then they give you the color palette, which is good. So it gives you an idea. Or this one here, this one looks yellow. It doesn't look orange at all. But yeah, it gives you like a picture, and you look at it and you go, okay, I like all the different tones in here. I like that it has a lot of different of the same color. So you want to make sure that you're restricting yourself down on colors, or else it's going to be a giant rainbow explosion. But this is the main way that you can find colors for blending. So I already have a couple of these saved. Let me pop open my Blender file. And basically what I'm going to do is go to my compositor, and I'm going to open an image. So let me go to my textures, and where's it at? Color palettes. So I have color palettes saved, and let's see which ones I have. Lots of purples. I don't know why I use purples. So let's select this one. This one has a lot of different purple colors, and let's say I want one cube to be one color, another cube to be a different color. So basically what I'm going to do is click on the color here, click on the little eyedropper, and we'll select that first purple color right there. And now we'll go to our next cube. Do they all have the same material? Is that what happened here? That is exactly what happened here. So let's make a new one. And I'm going to eyedropper. Let's go with this light color. And then we'll do this one. Eyedropper. And we'll go to this real dark one. And that should have worked, hopefully. And there we go. So just like that, I have created 3 different colors, 3 different objects, and I didn't have to worry about whether or not they were going to work together, or whether or not they were going to look good in a project. I just found a color palette online, eyedroppered them in, and here we go. I've got colors that look really nice together. So that's a real nice and easy way to do things. That's usually how I make most of my color choices in Blender. Let's open up another color palette. Here we go. Let's open up something like this. This one gives me a massive amount of color palettes. Boy. Okay, so let's change this one to this color. Change this one to this color. And change this one to this. No. That color. And let's look at it now. So now you can see we have this bright yellow, bright blue, bright green. And it just doesn't really fit together. It's just kind of a mess of colors, right? So you gotta be careful when you're picking these color palettes that you're picking the right ones. You gotta make sure that you're following those color palette guides. So I picked a different color from each of these palettes. However, if I went back, and now let's pick a different color from one of the palettes. Like, say this. Go here, and now we'll go back to our default. And now we have some different green colors. At least I'm assuming, because they all look the same. But anyways, it should look pretty nice together. they're already kind of designed to look good together. And let's say that I want one color to just be completely outlandish. I want two of them to look decent, and I want one to be completely outlandish, which is possible. You can do that. I'm probably going to use a complementary. I think is it complementary? I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying the term right. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, no, no. Go back. I don't remember what color it was. This one? So I would basically go to the opposite side of the wheel. Should be right about here, maybe? Boy, I can't tell. Let's go back to my default view. So now I have two green colors and a blue color. If I had more objects around and they were all green, and then this one was blue, it would make this object immediately the focus of my picture because it's a completely different color. It's the contrasting color. That's the word I'm looking for, contrasting color, not complementary color. These are complementary colors. This is a contrasting color. There we go. So it's a really nice artistic way of, I guess, drawing focus to something in a blending scene. If you make one specific object a completely different color than the other objects. So let's say we're making a living room, and your entire living room is made out of different green colors. Greens, grays, tan colors, stuff like that. Just neutral colors and greens. But there's a picture of a heart on the wall, and the heart is colored blue, this nice blue color. It would immediately draw your attention to that blue color. So it's a nice way to use color to draw focus. So let's go back to the internet here, and let's take a look at some other color palettes, like the color palette generator. And I don't want that on the, go back here, here we go. Okay, so let's try this one. I have not tested these out, so maybe they'll work, maybe they won't. And it looks like it works. Let's see. So I can brighten the red color. I can darken the red color. That's cool. And I can change it. Let's say I go to a blue color, and I can darken it, lighten it, wheel it around here, wheel it around there. So basically, these sorts of tools online are going to help you find the exact colors that you're looking for. So maybe you can't find a color palette that has exactly that green color that you want. So you would come onto here and find a color palette generator, and you'd kind of move it around until you find, you're like, okay, well, this looks like, I don't know, kind of an aqua green-ish color. So I found that, and then we can move that around and make it maybe just a little darker, something like that maybe. This could be like foliage, grass color. And it immediately is giving me color palettes, and it's giving me the code for it, which I'm assuming, what's that, 044900? Says that's the base RGB. I can't talk today. RGB, so RGB codes never want to work in Blender. Let me see here. So this one was 28C220, 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 28C220. Is it the hexadecimal code? Yes, it is. So it's giving me the hex code. So all I did was click on here, go to the hex code, type in the code it gave me, and boom, there's the color I want. So now I can go back, and let's find another color from the same palette. And let's see, 044900, 044900. 044 900. 044 900. There's that one. And then we'll go one more color. Let's go 056D00. 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 And there's all the colors from that color palette generator. So I'm going back to my default view, and there it is. I have all of my green colors, nice colors that work together. And there are tons of these everywhere. You can find these things anywhere. Since I do work at a paint store, I know that you can find these colors from paint sites. You can, if you go to your local hardware store, you could probably find an entire wall of paint chips to choose from. Usually there are booklets that have different colors that work well together in houses, and you can also try to search for specific color palettes. Like, let's try this. Tree color palette. Oops. Let's see what we get. Images. Here we go. Very first one. Gives you a nice picture of a tree and gives you all of the different colors that it uses. So it looks like there's some reds and browns, green, tan, gray, and let's see, here's one of some rocks, so you can get some color palettes for rocks. For some reason there's a bunch of painted nails. Here's like looks like some autumn trees. So if I click on that, this is just a painting of some autumn trees that somebody's already done. So you get that nice contrasting color in the background of red. You have some greens, orange, brown. So the possibilities really are limitless. It's so much easier to do it this way, and even if you're not colorblind like me, this is really helpful when you're very first working on projects and trying to figure out what colors you're going to use. To say, oh, this is going to be an outdoorsy type of scene, like a nature scene. So I want a lot of green colors, and I want it to be kind of soft. So you would come in here and you just type in like tree color palette, and then you can find something like this. It gives you a tree. It shows you there's browns, greens, yellows, a white, gray, and a blue. And I mean, you can just find anything. You can find whatever you're looking for, and it'll help you set up the exact color palette that you should be using for your scenes. This doesn't always work. There are scenes where you're going to need a lot of different colors, different shades, especially when you're making realistic, like real life photos. And if you're doing like an indoor scene, there might be a pencil on the table that's completely different color than the rest, but you don't really see it that much. It can get difficult. It's not like it doesn't solve everything, is what I'm saying. But it's real nice to kind of go through here and just find different color palettes and try to work with color palettes. I've used it quite a few times in the past, and it's really, really helpful. Nobody really told me about any of this stuff when I was first learning. They tried to describe colors to me, and they used a color wheel, and that doesn't help me at all. Or they're using the slider. Let me show you the slider. I'm sure you guys have all seen the slider. Color ramp. So a lot of people use this color ramp, and I've seen there are materials out there online where people don't give you the code for all the colors that they use, and there's like, I don't know, like 20 different colors in it. Let me show you here. Pop a few of these out. So you get some of these color ramps can start to look something like this, where they just have tons of different colors in them. I can't tell the difference. I mean, I see white, I see gray, I see black. You know, to me there's absolutely no difference between this and this, or this and this. There's no difference here. There's no difference between any of these four. Obviously this is white, but the rest of these are just gray. It can get really, really confusing. So I've tried to help myself out in doing these color palettes. And usually if I'm making a color ramp or something like that in a tutorial, then I'll try and give the actual numbers for them so that you guys can see them. And that's pretty much it. So if you're interested in like color theory, learning more about colors, there are better tutorials out there, because this, I'm not an artist. I've not taken art classes. There are a lot of people who have that can teach it better than I can. I just wanted to give you guys a quick insight into how I personally choose colors because of my color blindness, and how you can try to choose colors easier, to find colors that will work together, to find things that will, I guess, work in a little bit more harmony to bring your projects together. So I hope you guys learned a little something. Maybe not, maybe you knew all this, maybe you'll hate this tutorial, I don't know, but I'm putting it out there in the hopes of helping somebody like me who's struggled for a bit with this. So thank you guys for watching.